for joining us today on Coastal and Progressive Rainbow Forum on Society Bites Radio. Today we will be speaking with Chris Gilbert, who is a write-in candidate for Manatee County Commission District 5. And Chris has had a very productive history in working with conservation, working with the area here on the environment, and he has an excellent background to do and help Manatee County. Chris, welcome, and please tell us a little bit more about your background here. So remind our listeners we've had you on before, and let's remind them of what you stand for in summary, and that may help move forward. Okay?
Sure thing. Thanks again, Steve. Yes, I'm Chris Gilbert. I'm a qualified write-in candidate for the County Commission District 5, and I served on Bradenton's Tree and Land Preservation Board for 5 years and was, for the last 2 years of my service, its chair. And while the chair, I created cooperative relationships with preservation organizations in other cities, community service awards, and Arbor Day events, and ensured that the citizen input was respected. And in the private sphere, I've led all kinds of process improvement committees at logistics, manufacturing, and communication companies. So I think if you were to sum up what kind of a candidate I am, I'm a return power to the citizens and environmental type of candidate.
Excellent. Okay, tell us, summarize here and tell us, well, not summarize, but just tell us a little bit in detail about some of the critical issues that you see that we need to face. I mean, kind of prioritize them, if you can think through that process there. And prioritize, I know the environment is an important issue for all the area of what we've been through here with the red tide and the destruction of the canopy, our bio canopy we've got here. And it's something that we need to address. It has not been adequately addressed, and things that we can do about that to help save the environment in this area. And I know you've had some great ideas and put them together. If you could remind our listeners some of these ways that you see that we could improve, and if you're elected, and what you would do to help make you stand out for County Commission 5.
Sure thing. The single most important issue facing the whole county as well as District 5 when it comes to the environment is that a few wealthy special interests control our future. And I intend to return power to the citizen process. And a prime example of how things go wrong is with this week's, or on the 13th, yeah, it was this week, I'm starting to lose track of time here, the Board of County Commissioners rushed through a land purchase of the Musgrave Farm for the landfill. And our commissioner, Vanessa Bowell, my opponent, she was enraged by this action that the board took for the reason that she says that we overpaid for the land. But if she could have just been paying attention, she could have stopped this vote with a procedural move in the meeting itself, because once the chair read that motion improperly, according to parliamentary rules of the board, she just should have said, I mean, if I was in the meeting, I would have said, point of order. Madam Chair, you did not do this, you did not do that, and that would have bought some time for this motion to be more fully understood. But the effect of Mrs. Bowell not knowing what she's doing in terms of parliamentary procedure is now voters are going to be suspect of every single land purchase idea that is going to be coming under the conservation land referendum that we have on the ballot this fall. And I've already started to see backlash against it. And instead of approaching it intelligently, Vanessa has gone on social media and told people to go into the next county commission meeting and simply raise hell. And the environment is too important to trust to somebody who doesn't care about it. And then when somehow environmental interests somehow end up on her plate, she doesn't even know how to manage getting it done. So I would say deep appreciation for the environment, plus a working knowledge of everything from accounting to parliamentary procedure. I'm an award-winning parliamentarian, parliamentary procedure competitor, in fact. We just have to have competent people who care about the environment, backed by citizens.
That's right, and it's sad when we have people that who don't have necessary background, what they should have in understanding the environment, and that environment is a very important issue for your district over there, and for all districts. But you would think that being in the eastern part of the county here, that they would have a little more sympathy for the understanding the situation, and they don't a lot of times. People just are not educated enough to understand the whole picture, what they're facing.
Right.
Summarize again and tell us a little bit more about, I know you've told us a little bit here about what you want to do. Give us some other priorities here that you see that are important for the county and areas that we can do improvement on. Your example there of the land purchase is excellent, okay? And go ahead and tell me a little bit about that, okay? And tell our listeners.
Right. Of course, the future of Manatee County is the future of its environment. And in order to create conservation land and public green space, because this land referendum that's coming up, it's not just about having wild and builders can't develop on. The Trust for Public Land has an excellent reputation in creating urban green space and retreats for animals to be able to have a chance to survive. And at the basis of this grassroots movement to create green space for our county is citizen participation. And to have that, we have to lead citizens, we have to create the environment where citizens can trust what's happening. The next county commission meeting is going to be just a terrible, terrible sight, because the last shreds of any trust that have been built up from the citizens, the most active citizens, you're going to see that that's lost. So democracy is very, very hard work, and it's easy to just vote no on everything that costs tax money. It's hard work to build trust and keep it with citizens, because it can be lost so quickly. And so I would see my role as to never lose people's trust and to always keep in mind how fragile it is as we go forward to improve human services. Again, 1/3 of our human services in this county are not met. And the board was just a couple of weeks ago talking about how important it is to not spend their reserve foolishly. And here they are now paying a 70% premium on landfill land that they rushed through because they don't like the new representatives coming onto the board. It was just a personal vendetta project against people who admittedly are not Democrats and are not going to work for the common good, but this has cost them so much in terms of public faith that we just can't do this anymore.
Yes,
so
and
trust building.
That's an incredible piece of information that you've just presented there, and you're right. Trust building is very difficult to come by, especially when we have so much information that's being put out that's false now, and we see these rallies and stuff done in the state where people are maskless and absolutely no caring about what happens to their fellow citizens here. We have a whole list of issues that we could go in to start to address in that area. What are some other areas that you think that need improvement that you could discuss and go on here and tell our listeners?
In order to get Manatee County into a world-class metropolitan area situation, we have to consolidate our city-county government. We do that by putting a ballot referendum, and we do that courageously and create a single consolidated government to cover the whole county. That means that we have to give up our jobs and put our jobs on the ballot. And if we get elected in charge, to be on the board of this new entity that we create, that's what has to be done, because it streamlines planning, it saves tax revenue, there's not duplication of services. It's as a practical matter, it's moving that way anyway, because all the development and tax revenue is coming from the eastern part of the county now. So Jefferson County and Kentucky did it with great results for human services, human rights, and planning. I think it was done up in Jacksonville, so it's perfectly legal here in Florida. That's one thing that I would work for as well. And I would also work to change the perception that any kind of tax revenue is just going to be squandered, because what people think of when they pay taxes, they think that it's just going into a black hole, or will be mismanaged. But the reality is that only through the public sphere can we solve some of our most important problems, like environment, human welfare, education, even garbage collection. So there's just so much cultural stuff that's going on with our culture now, where from Trump on down, people absolutely don't trust anything anymore. They don't trust any taxes that they pay. And they're just not thinking of the alternative, which is privatization of everything. It would leave so many people impoverished and so many people without any hope. So it's a tall order.
We have. People want to know a little bit more about this. They can research what's happened when they've tried to privatize toll roads in some of this country here. I could really tell you some horror stories that people can research what happened and what happened to the tax dollars and the political corruption that went on during some of this privatization process. Same thing with the prisons. I can name the states, okay, that privatized the prison systems, tried to privatize part of the prison system. Absolutely disgraceful what went on. Absolutely disgraceful. You can look on the internet and find out about it, and the health systems just absolutely deteriorated to nothing for the people who were incarcerated, and it was unbelievable and absolutely cruel, and certainly meets cruel and inhumane treatment for people. That's
exactly.
And something that we should have got out of in the Middle of Ages. And here we still have this United States, when the state governments in the states who've done this atrocity, against their people. It's just unbelievable. It's something that we have to look at very, very closely and look at history, what's happened, and the stories. When you privatize things, these are for-profit companies. These are not non-profits. And they're interested in taking and getting every penny they can squeeze out of the state system, and often doing things that are illegal to do. Doing things that are very questionable activities. So you understand the picture there. What would be if let's say if you we went through part of this here, but what do you think could be some of the other areas that might be able to be improved here in the area? You mentioned, I know, the environment here and so forth. Have you they're researching here? I know Mote Marine has got